Coming in here. Come down into the Caribbean. A lot of dry weather, plenty of sunshine, some showers there into Costa Rica, into Nicaragua. Heavy showers also a possibility to southern parts of the Windward Islands, but I think for much of the West Indies, it's looking lovely, some very pleasant sunshine to come. Now we're looking at crisp sunshine across central parts of Europe. -5 Berlin, -2 Celsius there for Vienna. The wintry weather will continue down towards the southeastern corner, around Belarus, down into Bulgaria and Romania. We have got wet and windy weather for the west.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
On counting the cost, food, why does it cost so much and how many more millions are being priced out of the basics? We'll hear directly from the World Bank for its take on an ongoing crisis. Plus big business, as Nokia and Microsoft join forces, we assess the tech market. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
Interest rate cut in the United States gave
tightly regulated.
From the world to your phone. Al Jazeera Mobile.
The top stories here on Al Jazeera. Some of the latest developments coming out of Libya. We've been hearing that Libyan fighter jets and helicopters have landed in Malta now. We're being told that they fled from Benghazi when that city was taken over by protesters. Libya's justice minister is reported to have resigned over the violence being used to crush the protests, and we're being told that protesters are planning to descend on the compound where leader Muammar Gaddafi is based. OK, well, joining us in the studio now is my guest Salman Sheikh, who's the director of the Brookings Centre in Doha. First of all, this march that's expected after afternoon prayers, planning on heading towards Gaddafi's base in Tripoli. Could this be a tipping point?
It could be. Some of the reports we're hearing from the ground is that there is already a significant mobilization of people from surrounding areas and people already preparing to come there. We'll have to see exactly what the response of the regime is in trying to put obstacles to people trying to come in. Last night, for example, we heard reports about shooting and sniper fire against those trying to assemble in the Green Square, for example, in Tripoli.
One quick question about the regime and the unity within it. We've heard of more resignations from senior Libyan diplomats. We've seen the Justice Minister also stepping down. Clearly, there is disunity at a high level. How much impact could that have?
It will have an impact. I think many people who follow Libya have speculated that when we really start to see strains in the regime, we will start to see resignations. And now we are seeing clear signs of that. So I think these are significant things. Also, it reflects a rather bizarre way that Gaddafi and his regime are run. People with overlapping portfolios, very much a small trusted group of advisors, but then others. And it's only Gaddafi himself who actually, I think, has a handle on how this regime is run.
OK, Salman, thanks very much indeed for that. Salman Sheikh from the Brookings Centre in the studio here with us. OK, let's have a quick look at some other news. In Morocco, 5 charred bodies have been pulled from a bank after it was set on fire during a day of national protest. The bank in the northeastern city of Al-Hoceima is one of many that were targeted on Sunday. Government officials say it was set on fire by troublemakers linked to nationwide pro-democracy protests. At least 2,000 people took to the streets of the capital to demand a new constitution. And more protests in Yemen, where the veteran president is refusing to stand down. Instead, Ali Abdullah Saleh is calling for what he calls a national dialogue, and a coalition of opposition groups has agreed to talk to him. That's after 12 people were killed in nationwide unrest since Thursday. With the latest from the capital, Sana'a, our correspondent Hashim Al-Bra.
President Saleh hits out at the opposition. He says they are not genuine about reform and that they are riding the wave of popular discontent to topple the government.
We have offered a package of reforms following calls from the opposition, But unfortunately, after the reforms offer was endorsed by the people, the opposition asked for more concessions, some of which are unacceptable, like the departure of the regime.
The veteran leader offered an explanation to the surge in anti-government protests in his country.
This is a contagious disease alien to our country. It started in Tunisia and then spread to Egypt and now to other countries in the region. It's a fever, a flu. It takes one to sneeze for the other to cough on the spot.
Here in the capital, the students and reform activists are emboldened by the growing support and sympathy for their demands. This whole area is now under the control of the pro-democracy protesters. They have set up checkpoints everywhere to prevent government loyalists from attacking them. That would just lead to further escalation and violent clashes, like we saw during the last few days. Now they're saying that they will hold out, that they will continue their fight for as long as it takes to enforce change. They say that their uprising is the result of decades of oppression and corruption.
33 years, how can they say a democratic country? And the president on the chair 33 years. I can't believe that.
I finished my graduation, I have no job. Yeah, I speak English, speak French, I speak Czech, I speak Arabic, but until now I couldn't find a job.
A situation of impasse reigns in the country. All sides stick to their positions, and the calls for a national unity government are dismissed by the president, who says that with a prime minister from the opposition, the affairs of the state will crumble in a week. Hashim Al-Barra, AlJazeera, Sana'a.
Okay, back to Libya, and we're getting some breaking news coming out. Apparently, state television is reporting that live ammunition is being used against what it called pockets of destruction and terror. They're calling it an operation against pockets of destruction and terror, but according to witnesses, it is a live ammunition being used against the march which is taking place in Tripoli. Very difficult to confirm exactly what's happening there because a lot of communication lines have been cut. Difficult to get pictures coming out of there. But let me speak to my guest Salman Sheikh from the Brookings Centre. This is something we were talking about, the harsh response of the security against something like this, the big protest that was planned after the prayers. I mean, we were talking about the threat of civil war, but where could this lead?
I don't think we're going to get civil war. I think we're going to get much more harsh, perhaps, measures, especially if this million-man march starts to materialize. I think we'll see the regime acting in wild ways. And this gives a lie, of course, to the talk that this regime can be reformed. I think we have to face up, and I think the international community has to face up to the fact that this regime is not reformable. And what it should be doing is drawing a line in the sand right now, before we see more bloodshed.
Well, I mean, where does it leave the international community? Because clearly Gaddafi is taking absolutely no notice of the calls from the Arab League, the calls from the US, the calls from the EU, all condemning the violence which has been taking place. There seems no